my channel. My name is Vanessa and this is tips and tricks on how to get hired at Target, what it's like working there, and a little rundown on each of the departments. Let's get straight into it. So first off, I want to start off by saying that everyone's experience is going to be different, and that's going to depend on whether you're a full-time team member, a part-time team member, your location, your coworkers, whether you're an on-demand team member, which is something we're going to bring up in a totally different video. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, and let's start with getting the job, and that involves applying. There is no secret to getting hired at Target, which is what I know some people were expecting me to say, but I can give you one big tip to make sure your availability is completely open. Whether you're someone who goes to school or you have kids or you have a second job, you have to disregard that if you want to get hired at Target, and your availability has to be completely open. Now, there is a way around this, and it is to say that your availability is completely open, apply to the job, get the position, and then months later or a little bit down the line, you can then finesse the system by submitting a change of availability request. Now, the only thing with this is that they can deny your request, so be reasonable. Don't request like, oh, I can't work weekends, or oh, I can't work Monday through Saturday and I can only work Sundays. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. You can't do that. They can deny it. So keep that in mind. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is the interview process. And the thing is with the interview is some people got a phone interview or they got a online interview, but I didn't do any of that. I literally did the old-fashioned go in and talk to a person face-to-face type of interview. That was my first interview. I didn't have a second one. Some people have second interviews. Yeah, we didn't do any of that. It just depends on your location. The way that I prepared for my interview was I used the website. Now, this is going to sound like this video is sponsored. It is not sponsored whatsoever, but I use this website called Glassdoor.com, and I'll put it in the description so you guys can look it up. On Glassdoor.com, they have a list of all the corporations and companies, and you can click on it and click on the interview section. On the interview portion, it lists like people's interviews and the questions that they asked them in the interview. Now, when I did this, I literally had almost every single question that I saw on Glassdoor.com they asked me in the interview. My interview was like 3 years ago, so I can't remember every single question that they asked me, but I can remember a few. And one of those questions was to tell me about yourself. That question they asked in almost every interview. And they did a lot of situational questions, like name a time when you worked with a difficult coworker, name a time when you worked with a difficult customer, you know, things of that nature. So if you don't want to go on Glassdoor.com, you can also just Google like situational questions and those will come up. Now, the next thing that we're going to go over are the positions. And for the positions, it's TSS, which is store security. It's guest advocate, which is front lines. It's fulfillment, which is order picking. It's general merchandise, having your own department and being in charge of like a specialty department such as electronics, style, etc. And then the very last one is cart attendant. We're going to start with cart attendant because everybody knows what a cart attendant does. They basically bring all the carts that are outside inside so that the guests have access to them so they can shop with them. And the next position is TSS. Now, TSS is store security. I don't really know what TSS stands for, but I'm assuming it stands for Target Store Security. It makes more sense. Kidding! I'm showing your booty hole. TSS keeps track of all the suspicious activity throughout the store, whether that be empty packages or an employee saw something suspicious or a guest saw something suspicious. I believe they also watch the cameras. I could be wrong with that one though. The next position is guest advocate. Now, guest advocate branches off into a lot of other subcategories. So this one's a little complex. They basically deal with self-checkout, whether they need help with coupons or promotions, or they just need to delete something off their bill. That's what self-checkout does. Then they have drive up, which is also another part of guest advocate. And for drive up, any orders that people have placed online, they let the store know that they're there, whether that be they come in person or they let them know on their phone. It says, I'm here. That associate then picks the order off of the shelf that the fulfillment team had picked off of the floor, and they take it out to the customer. So that's drive up. Then the next branch of guest advocate is guest service, and in guest service they handle all of the returns and anything that can't be handled on a regular register they handle at guest service. The next position is general merchandise. Now, for general merchandise, I don't have too much experience in general merchandise, but you're basically in charge of a specialty department, whether that be electronics or style or dairy. You have your own department and you're in charge of making sure that all of the promotions are taken down if they've expired. You have to stock the shelf. You have to answer guest questions. Now, keep in mind that you will be asked questions by guests no matter what department you're in. Even if you're car attendant, people are going to ask you freaking questions. So keep that in mind with every position. You have to do customer service. Now the next position is fulfillment, which is the position that I do primarily, and it's my favorite out of all the positions that I've done in the store. I haven't done TSS, and I haven't really done too much drive up either, but out of all the positions that I have done, that's including cashiering, this is my favorite, fulfillment. So for fulfillment, you have a device and you have a walkie. On your walkie, you're able to keep in contact with all of your coworkers, including your leads. So that way, if you can't find an item on the floor, okay, let me backtrack because I'm getting too far ahead of myself. So you have a walkie and you have your device. On that device, a customer places an online order and the online order pops up on your device. On the device, it tells you where in the store the items are that the customer had placed online. I mean, that the guest had placed online. You go to that location, you have your cart that you're pushing around, you put the item on the cart. Once you're done picking all of the order, you take it up to a designated area that we have and you place the items on the shelf. So then the drive up team can take those items out to the car. So you know how we're talking about the guest advocate? Well, guest advocates, the drive up portion of the guest advocate, they take those orders out to the customer's car. But fulfillment, they pick those orders. So keep in mind, if you do fulfillment, you will be walking around for 8 hours or 5 hours or 6 hours or 4 hours, depending on how long your shift is. So make sure you have comfortable shoes. And also in fulfillment, just like every other position, you will be asked questions on the sales floor. So customer service is key in every single position that you will be doing at Target. The next thing that we're going to be talking about is dress code, which is very self-explanatory, but you'd be surprised at the different dress codes that they have at different locations. I saw a car attendant wearing shorts at a different location. So for car attendant, I don't really know because you guys are outside. But for everyone who's inside, you do have to wear red. Any shade of red you can wear. You can even wear patterns. Well, at my location, you can wear patterns as long as the primary color in the pattern is red. And then for pants, you have to wear a solid color pant. And for shoes, you can wear any color shoe, basically. You can't have anything that's distressed, so no shoes or anything with holes in it, no shirts with holes in it. You have to look clean cut. AirPods are not allowed. You can't have your cell phone because you're going to be using it sometimes to look up things, like if you need to go on the Target app or something to help a guest with like a question about a promotion or something of that nature. You can also use your device for that, but you can use your phone as well. So phones are allowed. Don't have your phone out and be texting your boyfriend or anything like that, but you are allowed to like have your phone out in your pocket. But you can't have AirPods in and you can't have earphones in. That's just at my location. I know that a lot of people do still use the AirPods and earphones around the store, but that's just going to kind of depend on your lead. And the last thing we're going to talk about is Target a good company? Do I like working there? Is Target a good company? To me, I would say yes. In my experience, I ended up getting COVID. I was gone for like 3 to 4 weeks. I ended up coming back and I was there for like a week and I had so much anxiety from being in isolation for so long and coming out and this shock of just being around people all the time that I needed another mental health leave. And I was gone for 2 freaking years on that mental health leave and they still let me come back. So yes, I think Target is an amazing company. Do I like working there? The answer to that is yes. Y'all can tell by the smile on my face. I feel like my coworkers are amazing, and Target is one of those positions where you're not constantly being breathed over your shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, and some positions that you work at, the manager is just kind of like over your shoulder, kind of watching you all the time. I feel like very independent there, and that's definitely something that I like about it. And it's not just because I'm in fulfillment and I'm on the sales floor doing my own thing. When I do cashiering, I feel the same way. I feel like the managers trust you enough to do your job and to do it correctly that they aren't constantly breathing over your shoulder, which is something that I really enjoy. Do I recommend Target to other people? Yes, I do. For a first job, for a last job, for in the middle, for a side gig, for a main gig, whatever, I really recommend Target. And I think that's all. I think I pretty much went through everything. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I answer all questions, so don't be afraid. Your girl doesn't bite. Thank y'all so much for watching. And next week, I will be filming a video about taking y'all to work with me. So if you're excited for that, go ahead and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching.